Hello, I'm Toycat and welcome back to the video. A lot of you are still asking me on tips on how to play better in battle, and to be honest, this is something I do entirely understand because it is really fun to defeat your friends and it's not fun to be destroyed by strangers online while playing battle mode. So today I have 5 slightly more advanced tips that you might not know that might just help you out when next playing battle. So hopefully you all do enjoy this video. If you do, like it and let me know because it helps out the channel and lets me know you do like, again, the battle mode videos. This is even for people who are pretty good at battle already, but just maybe want to improve their skills. So yeah, 5 tips you might not have known. Do keep in mind there's going to be an echo. That's just because I'm in this big room in the apartment. But yeah, with that said, let's get straight into the video already, shall we? And let's start with the first of the 5 tips. Always a great place to start on a 5 list. But with that said, yeah, the first of the 5 tips is going to be to do with finding good items. So you're all probably aware which the best items are. If you don't know, the best melee weapon is the stone sword with fire aspect. When you find this thing, you know you're in for a treat because it means that, you know, no one else can destroy you in melee combat unless they also have one, which is where my first point comes in, because battle is kind of a zero-sum game. If you don't know, in like when it comes to mathematics, there's kind of this term whenever you lose something and someone else gains a result, or whenever you gain and someone else loses a result, that's called a zero-sum game. And because battle is like this, it means that when you find a second stone sword, you can't be like, oh yeah, I'll just let someone else have that. It's happy that someone else is going to be happy like me. No, when you see a second stone sword of fire aspect, if you want to make sure you have the advantage in every fight you go into, you have to take this with you. Even if you have to sacrifice something you do genuinely want, like you really wanted the wind pickaxe, you can't keep that, then that's just a sacrifice you have to make, because if you make sure there isn't a second one of your item available, or even a third or a fourth, you know, if you have 4 stone swords of fire aspect, then what you can do is you can make sure other people don't have them, and you can keep your advantage. So yeah, battle is a zero-sum game. Taking stuff from other people is really important in the form of take a second stone sword, take a second set of armor if you really don't want people having it, but also there's the fact that if you find a bunch of stuff on the ground that you just can't take, so whole bunch of potions, you know, these could be used against you. I don't know, kind of like the 4th Blue Eyes White Dragon, right? So yeah, you know it's going to be used against you, and you're like, oh no, this is a really bad thing. Then one of the handy uses of TNT, a lot of people don't use it for, is blowing up items. So in battle, it doesn't destroy anything, which is why this is on the the bedrock right here, or the obsidian right here. But what TNT can do is it can destroy items. So if you see a big splodge of items like that, you can destroy them all using TNT, which is pretty cool if you ask me. So yeah, first tip here, battle is a zero-sum game. Every time you gain, others lose. Every time you lose, others gain. And that means that it's actually worth taking items you don't need just to stop other people having them, which seems really mean anywhere outside of a competitive fighting game. So with that said, let's get straight into the second point that about battle that might just help you out, and it's to do with slime blocks, actually. So every single map has slime blocks in one form or another. Some have more than others, some have less than others, and some have bigger ones than others that are 2x2, whereas some just have the single blocks. But knowing where these slime blocks are is important. So this is something that I'm still trying to learn for certain maps. I mean, I've kind of got it down for like juice and stuff, but yeah, it's something that on certain maps you need to be really aware of, because the thing about slime blocks is these are the perfect opportunity to escape someone who's trying to chase you. Because the thing, again, about slime blocks is most people, if they jump off and follow you, they might not even hit the slime block. You know, they might jump from here and actually land over there. But the second thing about the slime blocks is that, you know, if people do jump on them, they're usually not going to do the thing where you stop it and, you know, you do that, so they just bounce like this and they kind of keep going forward. What you can do instead is, if we get out there very quickly, so we're going to have to take the ladder out because this is our little fake battle map we devised. It's roughly based on Medusa, you can probably tell. But yeah, what you might be able to do instead is, instead of going straight forward, which is the, immediate reaction, you can go like this, press X, so you can do, or press X or A, so you can do that and just go straight up here. Even if you only gain like 5 seconds before they realize, wait a minute, I'm going the wrong way, or even if they just have to, bounce and catch up to you that way, it's still enough time to avoid death, and it's a pretty handy escape mechanism. So yeah, slime blocks are kind of built on that, not only to stop you taking full damage, which is pretty useful by itself, but they're also a really cool opportunity to just, actually escape people, which I think is pretty useful. So with that said, let's move on to the third tip here, which is to do with your sensitivity. Sensitivity is something that I guess is a sensitive issue for people. No, I'm not going to say that. But with that said, yeah, sensitivity actually is quite a sensitive issue, because the thing about it is that if you, if you leave your sensitivity on default, which is 100 if you don't know, I'm pretty sure it's 100 anyway, if you leave your sensitivity pretty low, it means that doing Okay, that was weird. It means that doing a full spin is going to take you quite some time. It's going to go around something like this, and if someone's behind you and you spot the little red thing on your crosshair, you're like, okay, by the time you get around, you've probably lost, even if you have your stone sword and they have just a wooden sword or something. So yeah, how do you avoid stuff like this? Turning up your sensitivity. So it's worth mentioning that you should always try and play with a sensitivity you're comfortable with, but if you want to improve your skill ceiling, the amount you can be good at, then the higher the sensitivity, the better. So I tried playing at 200 for the longest time. It's a bit too much for me. I'm for Minecraft Minecraft, I'm not a big fan. But if you can play at 200, then that means that one, you can spin around literally twice as fast, which is handy. But two, when you're, let's say, hitting someone, so someone's hitting me, I'm hitting them, you can stay tracked on them. So let's say that's someone, but someone in the foreground, you can stay tracked on them, kind of a little bit closer, and that's something that's pretty useful. So yeah, using the sensitivity you're comfortable with is important, but if you can use one that's higher that you can be comfortable with, or that you can learn to be comfortable with, you're basically just a better player. If you can go double as fast as someone else, you can imagine you're just going to have a big advantage, and that's why upping your sensitivity is something that's slightly more important than a lot of people do think. So yeah, with that said, let's move into the fourth little point here, which is to do with, it's to do with water, because there are quite a few water-based maps, or, there's more than a few, but, basically there's Cavern, there's Cove, there's Medusa, and there's some amount of water moving in most maps besides like the lava ones. So yeah, the reason that this is relevant is because a lot of people, when they see water, don't go over it in the most intelligent way. They think that, let's say we need to be on the chest that's on the far side there, so on the round side of that, most people might think that the best way to get there is just to run straight towards it. But then you kind of miscalculate how long it takes to run through water at that point, and that's not a great thing to do at all. So here I am now, it's been like 10 seconds. Whereas if you do, if you realize that you're not staying above ground and staying not in water is really important, then you can take a more convoluted way there, and as long as you, I see I'm using a PlayStation 4 controller because again, that's a whole thing, and I'm just not great at parkour on this thing, but still, if you just know how to do stuff like this and you can do it faster, and you make sure you don't fall in the water, you can get to places way faster. And if you do, if you consider this to be like, okay, let's go all the way to the end, then if you can just make this jump, and again, I feel really bad for like failing the parkour while trying to show you like, oh yeah, if you can just do some parkour across the place, then it's a little bit faster. But yeah, just like that, you can get to the other side without landing in the water, and it's really, really handy to do it this way, because again, you can escape people, you can chase people if they're stupid enough to run in the water, then they're going to die, but then there's also the factor of like, okay, well, if, you need to stay up with people and that sort of stuff, and also you need to be able to just get from one place to another. So yeah, make sure when you're on, especially on Cavern, it's slightly important on Cove too, but it's most, and Medusa, it's most important on Cavern though. When you see water, try and like stay on top of the things. Don't try and go in the water, because that's how you die. Also, it's worth noting, if you have Depth Strider enchantment on, then you can just completely troll people and run through the water just like this. Your water slowdown speed is not affected, and again, it's another a great escape mechanism. Or you can just chase people and guarantee you can get off them. So yeah, Depth Strider, or being able to just do parkour across things, if you can actually control your thing, which again I'm just terrible at today, then that's something that's really useful. So let's move on to the final advanced battle tip right here, and it is to do with making decisions. So basically, there's a lot of decisions to be made in battle. It's one of the intriguing elements of the game. When you find that first chest, you got one inventory slot left. Do you take the bow, or do you take the wooden shovel with sharpness on? This doesn't have sharpness, but do you take the bow, or do you take the wooden shovel with sharpness? And you gotta kind of make decisions like that all the way through battle, and knowing your kind of pick for these decisions ahead of time can really, really help you not die, because if you spend a lot of time in the chest being like, I do want a speed potion, but strength is good too, but I mean on this map, do I want speed? No, strength is pretty good, then you're going to be hit, the odds of it being hit goes up and up and up, because the longer you spend in a chest, the more likely someone is to come along, and the more likely you're just going to lose the fight regardless of what you do pick. So there's kind of two tips here. The first one is make sure you pick quickly regardless. Like, do you want fire aspect or knockback? Oh, I'm not too sure. Okay, I'm just going to take fire aspect because it's better than dying. You're going to be able to pick quickly, but also knowing what you're going to pick ahead of time is really useful. So knowing that you're on Crucible, therefore, you want a speed potion, not a strength potion, that's a useful tip to know. Knowing that, oh yeah, you're actually, you're playing on Medusa, therefore you want knockback and not fire aspect, then that's something really useful to know too. But you've always got to be able to know the answer to these big conundrums. I think the biggest one is Stone Sword of Fire Aspect, or the knockback axe. You've got to kind of know the answer to all of these questions before they come up, or at least have a rough idea, so that you don't have to spend time making decisions. And really, the pro tip here is make quick decisions, and the extra pro tip is like, make sure you make the right quick decisions. And if you can do that, you'll be a better battle player. So hopefully this video did help you out in some way, whether it is depriving people of other stuff, because again, battle is a zero-sum game, whether it is, blowing stuff off that you don't like, because I think that's really fun personally, or whether it is just, I don't know, how to make the most abominifying or abomination-ing, I don't know what the word is for that, of a Steve statue. I don't know, maybe you learned something somewhere in the video. If you did, like it and let me know, because it helps out the channel a lot, and let us know you do like these sorts of videos. Share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you all very much for watching, and goodbye.